Hi everyone, and welcome to the Women in Marketing Virtual Summit. My name's Rakhi Voria. I'm the Director of Global Digital Sales Development at IBM, and I'm delighted to be here. So a little bit about my background. I manage the team that's responsible for the strategy, implementation, and revenue of the digital sales development function at IBM. Within this function, we have a few hundred sellers who are focused on client engagement, deal progression, and closure of select deals. I've been at IBM for about a year now. I was previously at Microsoft where I had roles across sales, business development, finance, and I helped Microsoft to build their inside sales team as the chief of staff to the corporate vice president of worldwide inside sales. I was one of the first people on the team and helped grow it to about 2,000 people. So I'm very passionate about the field of digital sales, accelerating the transformation of sales and marketing organizations. And I'm also very passionate about advancing women in business. I have the pleasure of serving as the executive co-chair of the Women at IBM group in New York City. And I'm always just really eager to participate in various events and initiatives geared toward women's empowerment. So thank you for tuning in. Thanks to Argiana Koskarova for putting on this event. I know we have thousands of people registered all over the world, and I'm really honored to participate. So although this is a Women in Marketing event, today I'm actually going to be talking about sales. And the reason is because sales and marketing are incredibly interconnected. And I think sales can be a really great career path for marketing and vice versa, given how deeply interdependent they both are. Marketing is such a critical function. It helps you to identify your target audience and execute a plan and build as many quality leads as possible. And then sales teams, of course, action on those leads, help to acquire, retain customers, grow the business. So let's face it, I think marketing and sales play such a vital role at any given company. Without targeting marketing initiatives, you won't capture the market. With poor sales performance, your business won't grow. And I think many divisions over the years have even merged their marketing and sales organizations to put them under the same umbrella within the organization as a way to drive greater connectivity and alignment between the two important functions. In fact, at IBM, we actually have digital sales and marketing underneath the same senior vice president, Michelle Paluzzo. And I think there are many organizations out there, big and small, who have similar structures. But I'm not here to talk about the connection between marketing and sales because presumably many of you who are participating in today's Women in Marketing Summit are already in marketing, and you probably already know all of this. So what I've been asked to speak about today is actually about sales as a career path. Many marketers ask me, well, what's it like to be in sales? And as a marketer, you probably spend so much time designing and delivering amazing experiences and journeys for customers. So I think it's normal to want to know what it's like on the other side and how that plays out in practice by engaging with customers directly and hearing some of their feedback firsthand. But not only is it normal, I think it's actually really smart because no matter what discipline you're in, I always encourage people to see what it's like on the other side, I guess. So today I'm going to be covering a few different things. First, I'm going to share my story of how I personally ended up in sales and how it became the common thread throughout my career. Then I'll talk about why we need more women in sales. And finally, I will share some thoughts on why women should consider roles in sales. I hope that my talk today inspires you to consider sales as a worthwhile and a viable profession and to maybe take the plunge into this part of the world. So I'll start by sharing a little bit about my journey. As I mentioned, I actually personally fell into sales. When I applied to work at Microsoft out of graduate school, I went to a recruiting event and I had expressed interest in marketing. And I was interviewing for marketing roles, and it was actually the recruiter who put me in the queue for sales. And she basically said, have you ever considered a role in sales? You communicate effectively, you listen intently, you have a strong track record of success. All of those things would make you a really great fit for sales. And I think at the time I had this visceral reaction and I kind of thought to myself, well, I would never want to go into sales. It's so masculine. It's so aggressive. I don't have the personality for it. So I just sort of dismissed it. And I think unfortunately, a lot of women tend to sort of think of sales in that way as well. I mean, we have a lot of preconceived notions about it being a very masculine profession. But because I so badly wanted to work at Microsoft and I really loved the field of technology, I kind of went with it. And I ended up landing my first job as a licensing sales specialist. And then from there, I did that for a few years. Interestingly enough, the recruiter was right. I actually really enjoyed my job in sales. I was really good at it, and I was also developing some really tangible skills that set me up for my entire career. So it ended up working out really well for me, and then I ended up taking that experience to go to the Microsoft financing division where I did business development for the Americas. And basically my job in that role was to support our financing sellers. So I was creating promotions or offers or making sure our sellers had the right enablement. And that was a great segue from sales into more of a business development, which is really more of a quasi-marketing sales type of role. And it allowed me to use my experience having been a seller to support our financing sellers at Microsoft. And then, as I mentioned, I moved over to the inside sales division where I helped grow that team. I helped with everything from hiring our first wave of sellers to providing input into the onboarding programs, tools, programs, compensation models, playbooks, all of those things that they needed to be successful. And then fast forward, I am now at IBM. So as I mentioned, I've been here for about a year. I'm responsible for one of the global sales functions. And what I love about my job today is how deeply connected digital sales is with marketing. I think, as you all know, marketing creates the funnel of leads that comes to digital sales teams typically. So at IBM, we invest in AI capabilities and machine learning techniques to be able to target our customers and engage with them at the right time, with the right touch, with the right insights, to really be able to engage with them in a way that's meaningful for where they're at in their business journey. So marketing, maybe if you'd put on an event or a new campaign that drove a lot of traffic to our IBM web pages, my team would either engage with clients directly through chat on our web pages, or they would take the leads coming from marketing tactics and action on them. So it's really this end-to-end customer buying journey and funnel. But although I haven't been in a direct sales role in years, it's been kind of the common thread throughout my career. And I think that's the beauty of it as a profession. There is no linear career path these days. Just because you go into sales doesn't mean you start as a seller, then go into sales management, then become a VP of sales, and so on and so forth. You can really bounce around and try a variety of different divisions, develop various layers of expertise in the way that I did, having gone from business development and then building a digital sales team and now managing an existing sales team and thinking about how we optimize it, evolve it, modernize it, simplify it, take it to the next level. So that's a little bit about my background. Now I'm going to switch gears and talk about why we need more women in sales. This is a topic that I'm hugely passionate about. I've published articles in Forbes on this topic. I've spoken at other events on this. And the reason is largely in part due to my own personal story. Like I said, I had a lot of preconceived notions about the profession. And I unfortunately think many women feel this way because sales can have a negative connotation sometimes. You sometimes might think of the stereotypical used car salesman that's really hungry to do whatever it takes to close a deal. And in fact, there's an author named Dan Pink. He wrote a book called To Sell is Human. And in it, he asked people to describe the words that they think of when they hear the word sales. And the main adjectives that were used were pushy, annoying, manipulative, dishonest. I mean, these are words that no woman or man for that matter would want to be associated with. So I think Pink's research really shows that there's clearly still a bias when it comes to sales, regardless of gender, in fact. So why do we need more sales women? We often hear about the importance of getting more women into STEM. We hear a lot about this: science, technology, engineering, mathematics. And we're seeing so many more initiatives focused on this important topic, but equally important is getting more women into sales. but we don't hear very much about that. So I always joke with people, instead of calling it STEM, let's call it STEMs and add an S at the end for sales. But I'll share a few surprising and disappointing statistics to frame this. There was a recent study by Gartner. It revealed that women are underrepresented across all levels in sales. According to a recent LinkedIn report, there's only 39% of the workforce in sales is women overall. The percentage has actually barely increased over the past decade, only by 3%. Not surprisingly, the higher up you get, the percentage gets lower. So as seniority increases, we see less women in the higher ranks. Only about 21% of vice presidents of sales are women. And then CEB Global recently reported that sales as a function actually has the largest gender equity gap across all corporate functions after supply chain. So, I think the figures sort of speak for themselves, but if they're so bad, why would you want to consider going into sales? Well, I will share 5 reasons with you why I would encourage you to think about it. First and foremost, women are actually really good at sales. There was a company called Zackley, and they reported that women outperform men in sales by 3%. Women also hit their quota faster than men. There are many studies out there that have actually compared the results of women sellers and male sellers, and consistently we do see that in the results. And frankly, I don't think that should be surprising, because women have characteristics and skills that make us a really natural fit for sales. We're able to, build trust, nurture relationships, listen, provide feedback. In my first sales role, I noticed that many of the women on my team, including myself, we had very different styles from our male counterparts, but we were actually often closing more deals because of it. I think sometimes women, we say the same thing that men say, but we do it in a different way. And there's nothing wrong with having varying approaches in sales. In fact, it can help you come across as empathetic and understanding with customers. Second reason why I encourage you to consider sales, and that is you will develop tangible skills. I think sales is a great training ground to get a variety of different skills. Selling a product or a service, it requires empathy for customers, confidence, grit, perseverance, and what better way to develop all of those important skills than by having to build a relationship with a stranger. It's not easy, and so that's an important thing for you to be able to do. But not only will you develop some of those soft skills in sales, but you'll also develop some very hard, tangible skills around being able to position, influence, negotiate effectively. Sales requires you to learn the business at a deep level because customers expect their sales representatives to be knowledgeable, to have answers. And let's face it, we're always selling. Whether we are interviewing for a job, convincing someone to go on a vacation, to go on a date with us, whatever it might be. So learning how to sell and learning how to sell well is a great skill for any woman to have in her back pocket. Third, you will set yourself up to do almost anything. I think sales is a very marketable and a transferable skill. Marketing, business development, corporate teams in particular, they're often looking for people with sales backgrounds because in sales, you have a chance to understand what customers want. And this can be a really invaluable experience when it comes to building programs and offerings that are relevant to customers. And because sales helps you build foundational knowledge of a company, there's just so many different career paths that you can take afterward. As you heard from my story today, I haven't been in a direct customer-facing role in years, but now I'm on more of a sales strategy type of role and managing an organization in that capacity instead. All right, 2 more. Number 4, you can make good money while also having a flexible lifestyle. So I think gone are the days where women rely on a male salary, right? Sales is attractive because it can be very lucrative and it doesn't actually require an advanced degree. Your income is typically based on performance in sales. Commissions can be high depending on the compensation structure that the company offers. And in 2018, actually, there was a company called Flex Jobs. They published a list of the 10 best family-friendly careers. They looked at high earnings, flexibility, expected job growth over the next decade. And at the top of the list was account managers. They said that the annual median salary is just shy of $100,000 a year. The influx of technology also makes it easier for sellers to connect with customers remotely. There's a lot of digital sales organizations out there, like my own, which allows for really greater flexibility, which I know is very important to women and men. And finally, and maybe most importantly, is if you consider sales, you'll have fun. Everybody knows who Richard Branson is, founder of Virgin Group. He once said, 80% of your life is working. You want to have fun at home. Why shouldn't you have fun at work? And I love that quote. And it reminds us that work should be about having fun and getting energy out of what you're doing every single day. And I think not only is sales satisfying when you close a deal, you're helping customers achieve their business goals, but that can be really fun. I mean, working on a deal is stimulating. It gives you the opportunity to exercise creativity, solve challenges, meet new people. Every customer engagement is a little bit different, which keeps your days interesting as well. So I hope you enjoyed this session, and I hope that it perhaps opened up your mind to the possibility of sales as a career path, because like I said, it's so important to understand the end-to-end customer journey from marketing through sales and the other way around. So I wish you all the very best of luck as you develop in your own careers. I hope this gave you some tidbits and things to think about, but feel free to reach out on social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever it might be if you have any questions, and would love to engage with you all after this. So thanks and enjoy the rest of the summit.